With the upcoming release of Alpha 4.1, there are 5 new vehicles and ships that are being added to the in-game shops. In today's video, we're going to take a brief look at each of these vehicles and ships, discuss their purpose in the verse, and discuss why you may want to consider adding them to your in-game fleet. If you're interested in seeing more about these, make sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Let's begin by talking about the Mirai Pulse LX. The Pulse LX is a compact racing bike that trades the small amount of firepower on the base Pulse for a higher overall speed, greater for racing and for maneuvering through obstacles. It has a number of size 0 components, including a single size 0 power plant, a size 0 computer, a size 0 cooler, and a size 0 radar. It also contains a small area for personal storage, containing 600K micro SCU of storage, which is a decent amount for a vehicle of this size. Once you're on the bike, you can see there are 2 small MFD screens here that allow you to control various parts and pieces of the bike, adjusting power, checking out other systems, and things like that. You'll have a heads-up display here. Sometimes the radar seems to move up to kind of eye level. I believe that's a current bug with these bikes currently. But overall, it is a fairly sleek and minimalist design that enables you to have very good field of view and be able to see what you need. The Mirai Pulse LX is perfect for a player who wants a small, compact vehicle they can use to get around to different places, to go to bunkers and not have to deal with the turrets, and be able to do it at a little bit of a faster speed than the base Pulse would give you, and you get a nice neon green paint job as well. So if you're looking to get that, in the upcoming Alpha 4.1, that will be available at New Deal in Loreville for 211,000 AUEC. Next, let's talk about the next upcoming vehicle, the Argo CSV-SM. Let's begin by doing a small tour of the outside of the vehicle. To the left of the pilot seat, we have a small deployable rack that's capable of carrying a small multi-tool, so you can use that to have a tractor beam or some other attachment that you need to help in the various duties that you may be performing with this. We have a button here to enter the pilot seat, which we won't do right at the moment. And if we come around the left side of the vehicle here, there's a small access panel that will open up to reveal a size 0 shield, a place where there will be a size 0 battery in the future, and a size 0 cooler. Moving around the back of the vehicle, we find a slot where the size 0 radar is located, a small personal storage locker that contains 730,000 micro SCU of storage, so a decent amount of storage. And then we have on the right side here, avionics and life support. We also have a bed, or a tailgate, that comes down for the bed of this vehicle. The primary function of this vehicle is to be able to carry small amounts of cargo. It has a cargo grid of 4 SCU. You may be able to see here. There's right there. I have found that typically the best way to load this is 4 1 SCU crates. It doesn't seem to do well with like a large, like a 4 SCU crate. That seems to mess with its center of gravity to a degree. So I've found if you're wanting to load this just 4 1 SCU boxes, you can fit a lot of loot in there for looting bunkers and things like that, and it's very useful for that sort of thing. Next, as we proceed around the right side of the vehicle, we have another small access where we have the size 0 power plant and a small relay component housing as well. Now we are inside the driver's seat, or pilot seat, however you want to call it, for the CSV-SM. And you can see it's very much an Argo vehicle. Got lots of orange, lots of Argo styling. We have 3 central MFDs up above your field of visions for displaying different things. The central one is only for your radar, but the one on the left and the right you can change to be different screens depending on what you need them to be. Visibility overall is pretty solid for this little vehicle, and it handles about as well as ground vehicles currently handle, so it's a little bit jumpy sometimes. But again, for moving small amounts of supplies around or carrying loot crates around to bring out the loot from bunkers or distribution centers that you may go in to get. It works very well for that. So that is the Argo CSV-SM, a small ground vehicle that can be used to haul around little bits of supplies, and it's also capable of fitting into vehicles like the Zeus Mark II, the C1 Spirit, the Freelancer and Freelancer Max, and other vehicles that have those similar sizes of cargo bay. So it can fit in a fairly wide variety of vehicles. And as of Alpha 4.1, it will be available in Lorville, Area 18, and at the Orison Crusader showroom, all for 378,000 AUEC. So if you're looking for a small ground vehicle that can carry a little bit of cargo for various missions or looting or things like that, this may be something that you want to consider adding to your fleet. Next, let's talk about the RSI Lynx Rover. Yes, I know it's bouncing around a lot. It's just a bug with these things right now. The RSI Lynx is a variant of the already existing RSI Rover, the Ursa Rover. It's a luxurious variant focused on transporting 2 people in a more luxurious setting to go explore some ground areas or things like that. It has a slightly different body design compared to the base Ursa, a little bit more luxurious on the outside, nicer materials used. It also has a small turret on the top, a remote turret that has 2 size 1s. These are by default, these are laser cannons, and that I believe can be controlled by either the pilot or the co-pilot. Now let's take a look at the inside of the RSI Lynx. As we come in the small hatch, we have a fire extinguisher to our right, just in case you happen to run into any issues. We have 2 component bays that house the main components for the vehicle. We have a cooler, shield generator, power plant, and spaces for other components coming in the future, as well as a small separate bay that I believe may house some storage areas, or areas that you can put some storage boxes in. And we also have a small gun rack where you can place 2 primary weapons or 2 sidearms. And then as we proceed to the main part of the cabin, we have to the left a shelving area that has a little bucket with a bottle of champagne, so you could put some nice drinks here to have, you know, whoever you have on board, you could have some drinks or some food. There are 2 very nice plush seats with the RSI embossment on them. And as you can see, there are 2 windows to each side of the seats, as well as a large kind of panoramic window that goes up on the back and up to the front, so you can have good views when you go outside. There's very nice purple lighting in the floor and a big Lynx logo on the floor that glows really nicely, just to accentuate the luxuriousness of this vehicle a little bit. And then on the right side we have a small encased shelved area, which may be like refrigerated or something like that. You open that and there's a few random bottles of drinks in there right now, but if you wanted, you could put some other drinks or food in there just to have while you're out and about exploring and being chauffeured around. And then really quick, up at the front we have the small driver's cabin. So we have a driver's seat and a passenger seat, and as we sit in this, you can see there's pretty good visibility outside and above. Again, the pilot does have control of that small turret just by pointing around like this. I believe there is also a button, though, to enter the turret specifically if you wanted to, like this. And that is going to do it for the RSI Lynx. This would be for if you're looking for just a small vehicle that has an interior, you can go around with some buddies in, store a little bit of stuff, kind of role play a little bit maybe that you're luxuriously chauffeuring your friends around, or you be chauffeured around or something like that. This would be a great vehicle for you. This vehicle can be found in the upcoming 4.1 at New Deal in Lorville for 136,000 AUEC. We've now finished looking at all the ground vehicles coming in 4.1, so now let's take a look at the ships. We'll start by looking at the Crusader Intrepid. A starter ship from Crusader Industries introduced at last year's IAE, the Intrepid is a bit of an ugly duckling, I guess you could call it. It has a very asymmetrical design that some very much love and some do not want to have anything to do with. I personally think it's an alright looking ship. It's not my favorite, but for what it offers, what it gives you, I think it's actually quite good. On the outside, we have a single size 4 gun, paired with 2 size 1 missiles and a small missile rack up here. For okay offense and defense, I wouldn't advise doing any crazy amounts of bounty missions with this ship, but you could definitely do some low-level mercenary contracts and things like that. The bigger thing with this ship is going to be what it offers you on the inside. It actually has, in my opinion, currently the best interior for any starter ship of the game. First off, let's look at its cargo bays. So it has 2 separate cargo bays on the left and right side of the ship on the rear that are these small deployable elevators that come down, and they can carry 4 SCU on each of them. So I think the best configuration for this would be 2 SCU containers on each. We have one there, and they have these nice little lights that show when they're coming down or going up, just to make sure you know where they're going to be going. And we have this one on the left as well. And these can, in an emergency, also double as a way to get in and out of the ship. Next, let's go and take a look at the inside. To get to the inside, there is a deployable ramp sort of stair set that will deploy from this side access point. You can see here. And let's go up into the ship. We're greeted with a nice Crusader Industries logo. If we look to our left, we go to the small flight deck of the ship, where we have our pilot seat. And as we come a little bit further back, we have 2 component bays that house our radar, avionics, and gravity generator. And on the other side, we have our relay and life support. Let's next take a look at the living quarters on the Intrepid. This is probably one of my favorite areas of the ship, and of many ships. This is my favorite, especially the starter ships, because this living quarters is just very nice. It's very well lit, very nicely lit. To our right, we have a small kitchenette area where we have some little fridges where you can store some drinks or food, some small food dispensaries. Then we have a table with some cup holders and a little bench you can sit at. Next, we have a small bathroom, which this actually has a quote-unquote working mirror. It's not entirely a working mirror. It's if you zoom in, it looks a little bit weird, but it's a step in the right direction for sure. There's a lot of ships that don't have any sort of reflection sort of thing that works, so it's interesting to see that this does have that. As we go along, we have the single bed for you to be able to log out in if you want to. We also have a storage compartment above the bed, which if we open that, has 1500K micro SCU, so 1.5 SCU approximately of storage, which is a good amount. And then here we have a suit locker. And then here we have a small weapon rack area where there are 2 spaces for normal primary weapons, 3 spots for some secondary weapons or sidearms, and then we actually have a single large weapon slot for something like a missile launcher or a railgun. And then finally, in this section, we have a small storage area, which I believe these compartments are perfectly the size to fit small 1/8 SCU containers. So if you're doing small delivery missions or courier missions and you need to deliver those smaller boxes, they can slot right in here, and you can close this little storage area and keep them safe and secure. And then we have a interesting little back area here. We have 2 little slots, little doors that open up to access the cargo bays from the inside of the ship. So those are on each side here. And there's also buttons to be able to lower the ramps down from the inside as well. And then at this back panel, we have most of the other components for the ship. We have a size 1 cooler, size 1 quantum drive and jump drive, a single size 1 shield, and a single size 1 power plant, and then a slot for a size 1 battery coming in the future. And the last thing the Intrepid has that many other starter ships do not have is an engineering terminal. So once we get engineering gameplay, this will be essential in being able to manage the resource network and being able to effectively keep your ship in good conditions and be able to repair and just manage the ship as it needs to be once we get that gameplay in. So this is actually quite invaluable for this ship specifically, so we'll have to see if we get these sort of things in other starter ships in the future. But that is going to be the Crusader Intrepid. This is a new ship coming into the game in 4.1. It is available at the Crusader showroom, at New Deal in Lorville, and at the Astro Armada Area 18. And at all of those locations, it is available for 705,000 AUEC. And finally, let's talk about probably the biggest ship that is coming to the game with Alpha 4.1, and that is the Anvil Terrapin Medic. The Anvil Terrapin Medic was introduced into the game at this past year's IAE in November. It is a variant of the existing Anvil Terrapin, which is a heavily armored small ship where the base variant is a scanning ship. This ship is a medical version that has a single Tier 2 medical bed and is very small in profile, has very strong hit points and shielding, and enables you to have a respawn point that is fairly tanky and is very, very convenient, and I have very much enjoyed using it so far in the 4.1 PTU. So let's go ahead and let's take a little bit of a look at this. The biggest thing is on the outside we have kind of a maroonish red paint job, whereas the base Terrapin has, I think it's sort of like a grayish, just a simple more gray paint job. We have several VTOL engines, so there's one on the back here, and then there's two more up on the front, as well as you have a couple of extra engines on the back here. Again, everyone calls it the turtle because if you look at it, it kind of looks like a turtle. It's very, kind of has a shell, it's armored and everything like that. So it is a very nice ship. So let's go ahead and take a look at the inside. Okay, so how you get inside the Terrapin is there is a ramp that comes down. This is the only entrance to the ship. It's a pretty long ramp, actually. I think maybe in the future you can drag some people up the ramp, or if they have like a stretcher, you can bring them on. I don't know if that'll be the case. We'll see. But as we come in here, we can see the main medical area. So we have our Tier 2 medical bed. And then let's just go around the room here. So we have some component access. We have the space for a battery. We have our gravity generator. We have radar, relays, power plants. And then around here we have the little medical console where you can manage medical things. You can set your respawn point here. We have a small storage cupboard for medical supplies, as well as a separate little component bay for our life support and our quantum drive and jump drive. And then we also have a small section here that has some sink, a little storage area for more medical supplies. We have a crew storage little compartment here, where I have some stuff in here right now. We have 500K micro SCU. There's also a guest storage compartment, which has another 500K SCU, micro SCU. We have our little fire extinguisher, and there's also a little jump seat here. So you can have someone flying the ship, and then you can have a medic sitting in the back here that can go out when you land to go pick someone up, bring them inside, put them on the bed, and then they have somewhere to sit for when you're flying around. But that is the main medical portion of the ship. Let's go up a little bit further and look at the rest of the component areas, as well as the small flight deck. So here we can see we have our cooler, another relay area, and we have an engineering terminal. Very nice to see that. And the Terrapin has two size 2 shields, so each of those are right here and right here. So it has a fairly, for how small the ship is, it has a good amount of shielding. I believe this component bay is probably for a battery or something like that. Oh, no, that's for the computer. Looks like that has not been in there yet, put in there yet. And then we have our other cooler. And then as we go up a little bit further, we have the pilot's chair, which you get pretty good visibility out of the Terrapin. It also has, I'll show you here in just a second, interesting little feature that it has deployable sort of blast shields. So we'll click deploy armor and we look up, And there's some little blast shields that deploy over the top of the canopy, so you can still see out into the sides fairly well, but you have a little bit of deployable protection on top of you. I feel like probably in the future, once we get proper armor into the game, this will probably have a bigger impact on things. Right now it's mostly just cosmetic, but it's a very nice feature to see nonetheless. We can look at it a little bit more from the outside here. Everyone calls it the turtle, and you can probably see why. But this is a very nice ship. I've seen the best use case that I've seen is it can serve as a respawn point currently, and because it has the good shielding, a lot of HP, and it's a small ship, you can get it into small places. For a solo or maybe like 2 or 3 people, this can work really well as your little home station for going out and maybe doing mercenary missions, or with the upcoming 4.1, the Hathor group outposts. This is a really good ship to have there, so you can respawn there if you die, or you get some injuries you need to go fix, you can fix them here. You also have some storage space and things like that, so it's a very useful ship for that sort of thing. This ship is available at Area 18's Astro Armada, and it is going to be available for, I believe it's 5.7 million in-game credits. So this ship is going to be for those of you that want to have a medical ship that is a little bit of a step up from something like the Medical Pisces. You get a tier 2 bed, so you can fix higher tier injuries than the Pisces can, while having a much more shielded and armored frame that enables you to take incoming fire, be able to get out if you need to, and it's just a really useful ship. The last thing I'll mention is you do have a small amount of pilot-controlled weapons. I believe these are 2 size 2s down here. Hold on, let me go up real quick. Right here, under the pilot seat, we have a small little turret that has 2 size 2s on it. So you have a little bit of offensive power if you really need it. But again, this ship is not meant to be doing combat. It's meant to protect you and just be able to get away from situations that become dangerous. So if you're looking for a ship like that in the upcoming 4.1, this ship could be the perfect thing for you. Well, everyone, that is going to do it for this video, going over the new ships and vehicles that are coming into the in-game shops with Alpha 4.1. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to let me know down in the comments what ship you're looking forward to the most and what your favorite thing about it is. Or if I missed something about any of these ships or vehicles, make sure to let me know as well. I'm not perfect. I don't have a perfect knowledge of every single ship. So yeah, if you have something to add, make sure to let us know down in the comments so we can be as well informed as possible. If you felt you got value out of this video, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel as well. I aim to create valuable content about ships, new patches, and new features, and be able to show you the different changes and things that are coming to Star Citizen in the future. So if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But until next time, I'll see you in the verse.